everybody, this is Miss K and welcome to Miss K on Postal. So today I wanted to come to you guys to discuss something that some of you guys have been asking me about in comments. You ask questions about it. Some of you guys, God forbid, really are interested in how to be a shop steward. Now I know, baby, I know some of y'all going, is they fucking retarded? Come on, Miss K, they gotta be crazy. But listen, we need craziness and retarded ass people to join the union and represent some of you crazy, retarded ass motherfuckers that we have out there. So I'm going to tell you how you're going to go about being a shop steward for your particular craft, regardless if that's being a mail handler or if it's a clerk or whatever. So listen, a lot of people want to know, is there some kind of special requirements? You got to pack a test? Do you got to do like this, cover the left eye and then cover the other eye? You know, do you got to fucking walk backwards while chewing bubblegum and rubbing your stomach? No, baby. Ooh, it's not that hard. The only real thing that you need in order to become a shop steward is the interest in wanting to represent your fellow postal crazy ass freaks. That's it. Now, normally what you would do, depending on your craft, you would normally go to your president of your particular union at your location. If you're at a plant, they're very easily available. They usually have an office somewhere. You've probably been there, knock on the door, whatever. If you are at a station or some other place, sometimes you don't have your president there. You may have a union representative. You can speak to that particular person and say, hey, I'm interested in becoming a shop steward. How do I go about doing that? Okay. Now, if you're in a plant, which is easier because you have all the crafts represented in that particular building, you would go to that union president. Now, let's say it's your mail handler group and you're a mail handler and you want to join the union. So you would go to that president or even a representative of another shop steward and say, hey, I'm interested in becoming a shop steward. How do I go about doing that? Is there a particular opening? Okay, so you normally do it based on the tour that you're on. If you're on tour 1, tour 2, or tour 3, if you become a shop steward, that's the tour that you're going to represent. That does not mean you will not cross tours, because sometimes there may be an incident that may happen on tour 2 that may flow over into tour 3. You may have to represent that particular person or that event that may happen that crosses over tours. But that's nothing biggie, it's kind of small. You can move forward on that. Now, once you speak to someone, either a regular union rep like myself, or even the president or the vice president, and say, hey, I'm interested in becoming a shop steward. How do I go about doing that? Normally what they do is they give you a little application. It's like a one-page application. It's nothing major. Your name, your date of birth, your EIN, what is your craft, what is your tour, that type of crap. It's really nothing major. It's really basic information. Now, what they do is they will determine if they need a shop steward on that particular tour. So you would have your senior stewards, who of course are the seniors, and then you would have your junior stewards who are underneath them, and then you'll have what you call your alternates. Now, depending on how big that particular tour is for that craft, you will probably have maybe 2 senior shop stewards, maybe 1 junior and an alternate. Or you may have 1 senior, 1 junior, and 1 alternate. It depends on the location that you're at and what they feel they need as representation for your tour. Okay? So once you got the application, you may have a conversation with the president of that union, and they may tell you what they're looking for in regards to the type of representative they need for your particular location. Okay? Now, don't be like me, because I'm horrible. I'm not horrible. I just say horrible things to everybody, even to the president. I don't give a shit, because shit is wrong is wrong. It is. But you're mainly there. You're a public defender. It is what it is. You're representing sometimes the worst of the fucking worst, and y'all know it. And sometimes you're representing people who just might have gotten into some bad situation. Maybe somebody pissed them off and they cussed them out. Maybe they was accused of being insubordinate by their supervisor. It runs the gamut of what you're going to represent. Sometimes you're going to represent a person who gets put out the building, and you may have to use everything that you have and your resources to get that person back into the building. It could be a myriad of different things. Yes, I said a myriad. Look it up, okay? All right. Now, once you have spoken to the president, filled out the application, and they come to you and say, hey, listen, for your tour, I'm looking for a junior shop steward, right? So that means you'll be underneath the senior shop steward or seniors who probably been there at the particular plant, location, station, whatever, for umpteen years. And they've probably been in the union for a good amount of time. That still don't mean they know shit, but whatever. Just neither here nor there. We'll digress on that one, okay? So then you would more than likely have a sit down interview with that president or the vice president or both. And they're going to interview you and see where you are and ask you particular questions. I don't know what questions they're going to ask you because a lot of people have different questions. A lot of locations are looking for something different. What they really truly want is to know, can you fairly represent someone regardless of what's going on in a situation that requires you to be the intermediary between management and that employee. That's pretty much what this job is. If you have preconceived notions, or if there are people in the building that you don't like or management that you don't like, I'm telling your ass right motherfucking now. I'm finna break it down. You got to deal with these people. Okay? I'm sorry. You know, is one hand washing the other, baby. You're making deals with the devil. So if you cannot do this, if you cannot represent someone who you feel you don't like, if you can't deal with management and their sometimes ass ways, you cannot do this job. You just can't. This is not for you. Now, if you can see past a person's personality, their bullshit, their idiosyncrasies, and you can see that they were wronged in some type of way or they're owed something, let's say they're owed makeup, okay? Let's say they're owed, back pay for something. Somebody messed up their paycheck. Or if they're in a discipline situation, that may give them 7 days suspension, 14 days suspension, or could get them walked out the building. You have to be able to do that and not be concerned about you liking Bob or Bob not liking Charlie or you don't like Bob or motherfucking Charlie. Doesn't work that way. Okay? Okay. Now, let's go forward. So once that happens and you have a conversation, you have an interview, and they may come to you about a week or so later because they have to submit everything to their local union office to get you approved. They may come back and say, hey, you the new junior. And you going, oh my God, it's so proud. I want to thank my mom. I want to thank. No, calm the fuck down. No, we're not doing that. So once they accept you and you have been given that, you don't get a pin or badge or no bullshit or whatever like that. It's not that serious. Actually, you do get like a little bit. You like a badge. Now, you will go to training. Now, for myself, we had training outside of the plant. We went to a different location. We actually went to like a conference, and there were other people there from different locations who was training to be shop stewards. In your location, they do the same thing. Now, sometimes, and because of COVID, they cut out the conferences. So you were getting your training in-house, either at your station or at the plant. I know in some cases they slowly started back doing the conferences, or a lot of them have been doing the Zoom conferences where they're doing it from the local and you're sitting in the union office going over it. But you do have training. There is a book that you get. There's a manual, and it shows you different cases of things that have gone across the country on certain items that have happened, arbitrations, decisions, LMOUs, all of that. How to deal with a certain situation, how to write a grievance. They will show you how to write a grievance, how to do a step 1 grievance, how to do a step 2 grievance, how to type up a resolution, how to even go in and do what we call information requests. But that happens way when you get into it, okay? So once that does happen and you got your training, then guess what? You're a full-fledged now. You can handle it like a pro. Nobody handles it like a pro. You're still constantly learning. There are things that happen that even the old timers who've been there be like, what the hell? There are a lot of times you have to go back and research, so you have your handy dandy book full of all the rules and all the arbitrations and all the LMOUs. You will use that book. That is your Bible. That is your manual. And that's how you're going to handle, how you're going to file your grievances. Now, I'm going to say this. But those of you who really want to be shop stewards, really want to be a shop steward because you really want to learn and you have a good rapport with people, do it. But I must say this. Don't think that most of the time you have to handle a grievance by typing it up. Okay? By being Johnny Do-Gooder and typing up a fucking grievance and submitting it and go, ha ha, I talked down. No. A lot of times, the best shop stewards are the ones that can mediate an issue on the floor, and it doesn't have to go to a step 1 or a step 2. Okay? So a lot of times you may have small skirmishes on the floor. This one having an issue with the supervisor having an issue with this employee say, fuck all y'all, and I'm finna go where I wanna go, I wanna deal with that. And this employee says, I've been bypassed for NS overtime for 2 weeks. And sometimes it seems like a lot, and it just comes to you all at once. You go, ah. No. Take a breath and deal with each situation. Now, 3 of those situations can be handled on the floor that do not require you to go into the office and type up any paperwork. If a supervisor is having an issue with an employee, go have a conversation with that supervisor, go have a conversation with that employee. Find out what the issue is. Work it out. You can do that on the floor. Now, you may have another situation over here where this employee just done went rogue today and said, fuck it, I don't want to deal with it. Then guess what? You have to be a psychiatrist, because we are psychiatrists, psychotherapists, doctors, lawyers. Baby, I'm an ANRP. I'm all that. I'm giving injections, because that's what we are. That's what we do. You need a shoulder to cry on. That's what we are. They want to talk shit. That's what we are. We're here to listen. Okay? So try to address your situations on the floor if you can. If you cannot, depending on where you are, you need to step off the floor. You need to get union time to speak that particular to that particular member about what's going on. Have a discussion with them. Or if you need to speak to a rep. If you need to speak to another union rep, and this happens a lot, we talk back and forth. We do. We'll communicate. I'll say, hey, so-and-so, I'm working on this particular grievance, and this is going on. And they'll be like, hey, I had that particular grievance before. This is how you handle it. This is how it works. Teamwork make the motherfucking dream work, baby. Remember that. So it's not just going to be you. It will be you in a group environment in your local office, in your station, in your plant, addressing the issues that are going on every day. Some days it's going to be dead, and some days it's going to be off the chain, and you're not going to be able to mentally handle it. You know what I'm saying? So if you cannot mentally multitask, put aside your differences for other people that you may or may not like, this is something that you need not do. But if you can do that, trust me, sometimes it's a pain in the ass, but you learn a lot. And you learn about the people that you work with. You learn how they move, how they work, how their brain functions, because some of them, they hit upside the head and they ain't right. But you also gain rapport with your fellow coworkers. And also, too, you may have to gain some rapport management. I know, so hard. The N-word management. But you have to. Because in order for you to do your job fairly and to give the best representation for your client, because that's how I see them. They're my clients. I'm here for my clients and my client only. I am not here to have conversation with management about some other bullshit. This is my client. This is what's going down, how we're going to rectify it. That is the way you need to think of it. But sometimes you have to smooth over and, stroke management's ego to get what you need or want for your client. Okay? So, hey, remember, if you are interested in becoming a shop steward for your particular craft, I say go for it. Just remember what it entails. Just remember what you have to do, what you have to deal with, and the fuckery of it all. But at the end of the day, remember you are helping your fellow coworkers, your fellow members in your particular craft, and you're helping them out. Trust me, some of them need some help, baby. A lot of help. But one more thing, a reminder, because some of y'all probably going to ask me, and I just thought about this. Yes, you need to be a career employee to become a shop steward. But, and I say but some places do allow MHAs, and I say some, but it's rare, for them to be an alternate. Where I'm located, we prefer not to do that. We prefer to have career employees as your shop stewards because there's a lot of pertinent information that passes. Because remember, like I told you, this is what? I'm a public defender. So whatever you tell me, go in and it stays in. I do not disclose any information. No shop steward should. So in many cases, there are not a lot of MHAs that are shop stewards. They may be training them or grooming them, Or they may be an MHA about to be converted and they ask to be a shop steward, and that might happen. But in most cases, you will not see that because most unions, most locations prefer a career regular as a representation of that particular union. Okay? So, because I know you probably guys are going to ask me that question. So I'm going to tell you that right motherfucking now. Okay? All right. So, hope I gave y'all a couple of pointers. Hope I steered some of you guys in the right direction since you've been asking me questions about becoming a shop steward. Is there any kind of qualification? No, baby, you just got to be motherfucking crazy. That's all. Just crazy. Okay? So, hey, and also don't forget, check out our other channel with me and JH. Shit talking once a week. We talk about different stuff, not just postal crap, because I know postal crap be getting boring, but it is exciting, isn't it? I know. All right. So always remember, my postal freaks, love and light. Peace.